Hey, how's it going, guys? Ancient Rune here, back with another Borderlands 3 build video, and today I will be going over CBA Zane. This Zane build focuses on Cold Bore and Amp damage, which is where CBA comes from, Cold Bore Amp. It's a really strong build that rewards hitting crits and a fun gameplay loop of swapping your weapons for Cold Bore, sliding for Amp damage, and then ADSing and hitting crits for amazing hollow points. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't. The save file will be found in my Discord, which is linked down below, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, and for the gear here, we have a lot of gun options. I really enjoy this build, and when I enjoy builds, I go through tons of guns here. Um, First, we have the one pump jump. This isn't like the best gun or like must-have gun on here. I just really like it, and I didn't realize it would work. But Zane just has some really good formula for this. Well, Zane and items here. So it's really fun. You can make it have multiple pellets through Infernal Wish and playing dirty, making it a 129k times 3, which helps. And it has Cold War. It's just really fun to use. Um, so yeah, that's why I like it here, but it's definitely not like one of the top shotguns, and there's definitely better options. Same with Unforgiven, it's really fun, but this also applies to Mantis, and so that's really fun. The crit damage does. It's just exciting. Kick Charger is the bossing option for enemies you can't crit, mainly Wotan, and then like the Guardian takedown bosses can sometimes be hard to crit. Um, but yeah, that's why I go Kick Charger here. Then the Free Radical here is here for Fight for Your Life. We have consecutive hits here because you can't really move much to take advantage of final momentum, and we don't have our kill skill up for Executor, so we have consecutive hits here for some good formula in the gun damage department. And then we'll go over all the other guns. Also, the anointment I go here is Barrier Crit, just because it gives accuracy, which is really fun. And then the crit damage, I love overloading and crit damage, so crit damage is very rewarding. You deal a lot more damage than body shots. You could also go next to mags if you want, but crit, going barrier crit damage is really nice, especially since it's 125% crit damage. And then I went ASC Splash with the Kick Charger. Backburner would also work. Just because we're not critting doesn't really matter, and we don't really have splash damage anywhere else. Moonfire is really fun. Love Drill. The crit damage is a little weird. I'm pretty sure it's like additive with like Executor crit damage and Barrier crit, normal crit damage, where card crit damage is usually a molt to normal crit damage. So that's just something to take into consideration, but it does have better base damage than the Unforgiven. The Duck is fun with it. I'm pretty sure this is one that has a sticky. Maggie's fun. You can spam it, but I like to just shoot and click. Queen's Call fun, but the like 3 projectiles it brings out usually doesn't matter because the enemy's usually dead. This may be different if you don't have as good gear. I've only played this with good gear. Dead Chamber's fun when it's buffed up. It's just really fun to use. Guardian Angel, you can use this to shoot. Guardian Angel is actually a good shooting gun. It is wonky with the slow projectiles, but once you get the hang of it, it can be pretty nice. It'll also buff Mantis, which means your Mantis will be doing some more damage. Then we have the Tiggs Boom. I have this with ASC Splash. From what I haven't used this in a while, but from what I remember, it wasn't the best, but it was usable, and it's a gun I don't really use much. Stagecoach is probably one of the best shotguns to use on this. Definitely one of the best Jacob shotguns. It goes up to times 25. It can be hard since the purple, but it is very strong. Recursion's fun with this. Hitting crits with this, and then you have Eraser with the projectiles, really fun. You'll see this on Eraser with Hustler builds, but it's also just really fun to use here. I have a Radiation and Cryo one to take advantage of the Cryo boost from Executor, and then Radiation for red solutions. Robin's Call isn't good. I just have it here because it worked. I was like, hey, I want to try this out. Um, this build can, with good enough rolls, can make mediocre to bad guns work. So that's just kind of why I have here to try it out. Sergeant Shotgun is nice, but it does a burst fire, so you're really only getting that high damage on one shot. Another one of those just trying out. It is a very good shotgun. It's just not really meant for this build. Bang Stick can be nice. I have AC Splash on here, just because it's a strong or a good splash gun. I don't really use it much, and it's been a while since I used it, but I've had it in my inventory. I have the Shotty here for a meme because I have been able to make it work. I'll freeze enemies with Cryo Mantis with R-Man Flint, and then I'll run up to enemies and just like look up and shoot and hit them with hollow points for hollow point chaining. But it's not actually good. It's just something funny that I made work. So definitely not something you want to go after. Just a little haha funny. Flacker is really nice. You wouldn't want to use an executor. You'd want to use either a radical column, which is cold bore, or a violent momentum column and slide and shoot. You're sliding and shooting anyways. This is a different way to play it, but it still plays into the cold bore amp part, just not the critting part. That's why we go AC slash and not barrier crit. Hellwalker is a nice gun. It's a strong gun when low, like in your lower gears, but drops off when you get better gear. Still a good gun to use, just not the best option. During flesh targets, sure, it'll be good. Like, I'm in Slaughter Shaft right now. It'll do good. It's got flesh targets. It's also got multi-health, though. But endgame's mainly corrosive armor bars and shield bars, so that's why Hellwalker falls off there. Bird of Prey is really nice because it has a really high base damage, and then it has projectiles that'll spawn down. Really good underrated sniper. Wedding Invitation's really good. It has a hidden debuff with fire and cryo damage. We usually one-shot enemies anyways, but that could change again with lower gear to where this is more useful. Saint Hawk in semi-auto mode is very fun. It does have wonky projectiles, but it hits like a truck when you are like up close to enemies. You can use Deterrence Field or shoot Mantis with cryo. That's something I like in this gameplay with Arm and Flint to freeze them, then run up to them. Or Deterrence Field will stagger them so they won't be attacking you. Masterwork Handbow has really high base damage and a higher than normal crit hit damage of 65%. You do have to angle it weird and look up a bit, but it hits like a truck. Skullmasher's really good item here. Definitely probably one of the higher tier ones I'd rate on this build, just because it's such a good sniper rifle. Monocle is here for fun. It does do good. It has 300% crit damage while ADS. It's just such a high zoom to where it's not really used. ASMD is really fun on this because I had to do some testing on this, but it actually gets the cold bore bonus element. The orb does. So when you shoot it, it'll have the cold bore bonus element, which is really cool. We have AC Splash here because it's not going to be critting. So you could not use an executor and could use like a cold bore comm if you want. That's where cold bore could be better there. And that looks like that's it for the guns. This isn't a complete list. This is just what I have. I have had some failed stuff, some good stuff. Garcia, even though it's a 2-shot burst, could be something good like Super Shotgun, where it's just a very strong first hit. And then for the shields, we have only a couple options here. Not the only options, just stuff that synergizes with the build. Infernal Wish is good for those low projectile stuff, so it's not as good for, say, the Maggie or the Tigspoon, Guardian Angel, Stagecoach, Hellwalker, stuff like that. But it's really good for One Pump, Unforgiven, ASMD, Wedding Invitation, Queen's Call, Moonfire, all that. That's where you want Infernal Wish, and you want to try and prioritize amp parts. Then we have a Frozen Heart. This can just be nice for freezing enemies so they're staying still and you can shoot them. I kind of just simulate this with using Mantis with Cryo and Arm and Flint. If you crit with a Cryo, then it'll automatically freeze the enemy that you hit. And then we go ASC Terry here because we go Terry here. This does clutter your screen up. It's actually a very cluttered gameplay to see here. Um, you can't see much. I've played with the turns field terror so much, I've gotten used to it where I can snipe enemies usually very well. But yeah, you'll see it's a very cluttered screen here. Um, so if you don't want terror, you don't have to. But this gives up to 35% V1, which we don't have V1 anywhere since we're using Toboggan. We're not using a Victory Rush, which you can. It's not like you can't use it. But Victory Rush gives V1, which is an artifact, and Cook a Combo does, which is Zane's usual source. But that requires firing a lot, which you aren't here. So this is basically a pure mult to your damage if you use Terror here. And then that kind of just means you could use Terror Cryo in some of these guns if you want, but you don't have to. For the class mod here, we go Executor. You also have a Radical Comm. You could go a Spy Comm, but mainly Executor here because this gives accuracy and handling and high crit damage. This is just really good for having good, like a lot more Cold War points, which is just really fun, but you do lose a passive, which is unfortunate, so that's why I don't really take it. I'd say the main thing you want to look out for is splash radius, because a big thing with this build is mobbing through hollow point. So splash radius will increase the hollow point, but then you want to look out for weapon type damage and splash damage if the weapon is splash. Also boost hollow point though, and then weapon manufacturer crit damage or just weapon crit damage. And I think that's really all I use here. Weapon charge speed I think I use for the recursion, and that's pretty much it. Just look for the nice stuff. The skill rolls don't matter as much. I have points in some good misfortune and what's its face? I'm blanking right now. And playing dirty, which is just kind of nice. But the skill rolls don't matter as much as they're all skills we take anyway, so you can fluctuate skill points around that. Just worry about the passives here. If you didn't know, this crit damage is around 105% with these two kill skill bonuses, which is really fun. Oh, also, with the grenade doesn't matter because we don't have a way of throwing grenades. We don't have duct tape mod, we don't have fractal frags, and we don't have drone delivery. So any grenade with terror will do good. And then we mainly use Toboggan here because this will be the best thing we'll have because it's 100% amp damage and all amp damage multiplicative with each other. So the Berry amp is multiplicative with this, and the one-shotter or Infernal Wish amp parts will be multiplicative with this. You want to look out for weapon type damage and area of effect damage in the second or third slot. Second or third slot gives radius, and that's the main reason why we take it. It also just helps with splash guns if you need it. And then the only other option is action skill cooldown rate or move speed. That'll be beneficial here. I go action skill cooldown rate here, but that's just the perfect gear. Look out for weapon type damage and area effect damage. That's the two things you want to look for. Elemental damage also isn't bad. If you have like a cryo one, that'd be really nice because it boosts cold bore. Or if you're using some elemental weapons, which are a couple options here, elements that go with that would be really nice. You could also use a Snowdrift or Icebreaker Victory Rush, mainly Icebreaker because we'll be cryoing with either cryo guns or with Arbin Flint plus Colder Shoulder, so you'll get that V2. But having this amp damage is definitely a lot better. But for the skill tree, we'll start with Blue Tree as it's usually the go-to for Zane builds. We go Violent Momentum. I don't move much, but it is optimal to move for this gun damage. You don't have to. Cold War, 200% cryo damage with the Radical Comm, which has the Cold War points. With 5 points, that's 400% cryo damage. You also get swap speed with that, so you're swapping quick. This is a big part of this build. You're always taking advantage of this. Violent Speed for that move speed for Violent Momentum. Salvation, You only need 1 point for the lifesteal, dealing millions of damage with only 45k health. So that 3% is good. Cool hand, reload speed, really nice. We do have deja vu, so we're not reloading as much, but we still are sometimes. Seeing red to activate our kill skills, so our kill skills are always up, and you get that kill skill bonus. Playing dirty for that extra projectile is really, really nice. We don't take violent vines because we're not shooting fast, so we don't have to worry about fire rate. And then good misfortune to keep barrier up, and that death falls close for kill skill bonuses. Then red tree, this is just bonus skill points that I have to help extend barrier time, which is just really nice. Green tree, usually don't go too far, but I really like the turns field because it staggers enemies, which means they can't, like enemies that run up to you, can't really get into your barrier as easily, which means you're hit less. So that's really fun. And I also like really expensive jacket for reducing status effects. Since we're not shooting fast, we don't always have salvation going. And that's where Rise to the Occasion also helps. You get some nice health regen for when we have low health and low shield. This will help regen our health very quickly. Then we have Ready for Action, Shield Recharge Rate, and Delay, mainly for the recharge rate, since one of these skills has it. Here it is, Shield Reboot. Killing an enemy triggers shield regen. This is just automatically does it no matter the shield regen rate or shield recharge rate or delay. And so the shield recharge rate increase is the most important part. Then we have Brain Freeze here for cryoing enemies. This is really good for multi-pellets because that'll mainly mean that it'll insta-freeze an enemy if all these crit. And then really expensive jackets just helps with reducing dodge. For barrier augments, we go all-rounder so enemies can't hit us. And then we go deterrence field so enemies can't hit us even better. Then for purple tree, we go all the way down here. We go deja vu for restoring mag, so we reload less, which is really nice because we're swapping a lot, and swapping cancels reloading, and it's just really nice in general. Then we go mana focus for accuracy and handling. Headsman's Hand for crit damage, for critting. Commitment's really nice for that gun damage, but also actual cooldown rate. The gun damage helps because I'm usually standing still, the easier hit that crits. Then we have Fugitive here for spreading and shooting when needed. We don't go Domino Effect because we don't need the fire rate, and the reload speed doesn't matter as much. Then Art of War we don't go because we don't need it. Sheer Will is nice for actual cooldown. It only applies, the stacks only apply to barrier, and barrier can go down, so the cooldown rate's nice. This base cooldown rate of 10% does apply to Mantis though. Eraser is really good, double dipping skill. The pierce shots do. You can line up enemy shots. Not really as much related to an Eraser focused build, but Eraser's pretty much always taken when you can reach it. And then Armin Flint for the V2 damage when ADS, and can apply status effects instantly when you hit a crit. And with Cryo, that means they freeze enemies, which goes with Colder Shoulder. And then we go Proliferation for additional charges, for which just helps Mantis deal more damage, because Mantis can deal good damage with some of the formula we have. But also just more charges for shooting if we need to. And then you'll notice my head's a little weird. This is because we have some Mayhem modifiers. I go Galaxy Brain just so it's easier for hitting crits. Everything else is just extra. Healy Avenger and Drone Ranger's good for second wins. And then Holy Crit we go here just because it's nice, because we're always hitting crits. So we're always getting that crit damage. Non-crit damage reduced by 50%, which isn't good, but we're not really doing it. You don't need this modifier, but it's just more satisfying to have that Galaxy Brain here. I hope you guys enjoyed the build video. I absolutely love this build and meant to do Cold War shenanigans a long time ago, but never got to it. I love how many gun options I can use and guns I never thought I could use. It's a little harder to play in Guardian Takedown as the enemies have smaller crit spots, but it is still 100% possible, just need a little better aim. My favorite place to play this is just in Slaughter Shaft with the large health enemies with easy crit spots. This build can be found in the community Zane documents, which will be linked down below. You can also find my Twitch and Twitter there, If you haven't, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.